Everyone, welcome to the Town of Meridian Hills Town Council meeting. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. First on our agenda this evening will be to say the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I could ask everybody to stand, move their caps. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I would like to offer any residents that have any issues with the town at this point to please bring your issues forward. And if you would please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, I would appreciate it. Seeing none, I would like to request a modification of tonight's agenda meeting. The first meeting of every calendar year, we're obligated to elect a president for that year, and it's not on the agenda, which I'm sorry for, but want to make sure we continue with the policy that we've had over the years. So with that being said, I would introduce a motion to amend the agenda as I proposed. So it's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, next on our agenda will be the election of a town president. I would open the floor to nominations for town president. All right, there's been one nomination for Walter Freiberg. Okay, second, I wish, third, great. Third, yeah. So we have had a motion made to Walter Freihofer in a second. Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, I'll close the nominations. All in favor of electing Walter Freihofer as town president for 2026 indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Great, thank you guys. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the November 12th, 2025 meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to look at the minutes that were sent out by Clerk Treasurer Dillon? Any questions or modifications? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the November 10th, 2025 minutes, meeting minutes as presented. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Great. Next on our agenda, Clerk Treasurer report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Several items to walk through this evening. The first one, which is the approval of the October 2025 and November 2025 financial packets, which have been provided to you. If there's any questions, if not, look for approval.
Entertain a motion to accept the bank reconciliations for the month of October 31st, 2025 and November 30th, 2025. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Secondly, Mr. President, vouchers also were supplied for your review. The amount of the vouchers is $96,546.92. We need approval so we can pay our bills.
Okay. I think we passed the vouchers around. I would entertain a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $96,546.92. Been moved. Is there a second? Second. Moved and second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign.
Mr. President, we need the acceptance of the bank reconciliations for the months ending October 31 and November 30, 2025. Simple acceptance. No, he threw it in the first question. I'm sorry, Mr. President, you already done it.
Yes.
Approval of the 2026 budget approval from the DLGF.
Okay, so that is we need to approve the 2026 budget from the Department of.
I think that's just notification that DLGF has approved.
Has approved our budget.
Yes.
Thank you.
You just receiving that. of note, once again confirming the Vernon Hills Police Department pay rate now is at $33. It's already been voted in. They just wanted it on the record to make sure to start the year of 2026. And I wanted to talk a little bit about last year's Senate Bill 1 to give the board an update. There's been 2 bills introduced in the legislature already. One is Senate Bill 238, which I'm tracking pretty closely, and House Bill 1259. Both are entitled Local Income Tax. They are fluid, and there's a lot of arguments going on between the 2 bills. They look to try to push out the dates of the new changes on Senate Bill 1, and they're also trying to adjust some of the percentages so local communities don't get hit as hard. So those are going through. This session will conclude by I'd call it March 1st, but hopefully towards the end of February, and we'll report back. But those are the 2 key instruments at this time.
Okay.
The 3 individuals who waived their salaries this year for the minutes were Clerk Treasurer Dillon, Councilman Hughes, Councilman Gordon. Those 3 have all waived, so they should get 0. We'll put that in the minutes to make sure that for sure those are recorded. Need your counsel. We need to have, because of the fact the community crossing award for 2026 was $355,000, we need to have a special council meeting to have bids open. And we're looking at 2 dates, February 9th of 2026 or February 16th of 2026. So that meeting will strictly be for the opening of bids and then update and payment of vouchers and update and receive of the December statements and also the bank reconciliation once again. That will be the entire meeting. So it's up to the board which meeting you want to go for.
Which date?
February 9th or February 16th.
9th.
I'm out of town on the 9th.
Okay.
I'm here on the 16th. The 16th is President's Day.
Okay.
Are you okay? I can do both.
So why don't the only reason we don't conflict with President's Day, the 16th, is it okay if we move the 9th? And if you're out of town, again, it's simply to open the bids, we'll have a new form. This all became
It'll be a bid opening and conditional acceptance.
approval of those. And this is all because we sought out a second request from the state of Indiana for community crossings, and we're lucky enough to receive those. In order for us to be able to take advantage of those, we need to have those bids agreed to by March 1st.
March 1st, everything, you have to have contracts basically executed and submitted back to the state.
So that's why we're trying. Okay, so that's gonna be February the 9th. Everybody.
What day is it? It is the 8th.
We'll have a BAC meter up there for everybody to make sure that we don't have anybody over the limit.
You want to go February 9th?
Let's do February the 9th. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Works for me. We'll do
David,
that.
work for you?
Works for me.
Great. Okay.
You also have in your packet, and I think it's appropriate that all the members of the board start the year out with an inventory report, keep that in the file, take a look, and then we can compare it as we go through the end of the year, where we started and where we ended. And I think that's important. So you've got that information, you've got a hard copy, you've got it for your review. Finally, there's one, and we'll come to this later, Mr. President, but under new business, we have a variance discussion, and I just put it in under new business. I didn't put it formally on the agenda for 7575 Central Avenue. We'll come to that as we come down to other discussions on eminent domain later.
Perfect.
That concludes the clerk treasurer report.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Dillon? Thanks. Appreciate it. Town Marshal's report?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just just had two quick things to mention. First of which is I wanted to reinforce something that was in Mike Russo's annual report, and that's the fact that Meridian Hills and Williams Creek suffered no burglaries in calendar 2025 whatsoever. Now, it'd be real easy for us to sit back and pat ourselves on the back and take credit for that, but it's not all us. We've got a lot of cooperation and a lot of help from the citizens of the community, and we've gotten people to the point where if they see something, they're saying something. If they see something, we keep reinforcing with folks, if it's bothering you, then it ought to bother me. So pick up the phone, call 911, and let us come out and check. And don't hesitate. A lot of folks are, well, I don't want to put anybody out. Please, put us out. But we've had a lot of community support like that, and I wanted to reinforce that and make sure the board is aware that we're getting that kind of cooperation from the residents. The other thing I wanted to mention, we did have a vehicle theft, which was the other one that happened that I'm aware of in 2025 on the 30th. And unfortunately, a resident left their keys in the car in the driveway. We've got a group apparently that is prowling late at night, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning in neighborhoods, and it's not just us, it's Zionsville, Carmel, Fishers, the north side of, metropolitan north side of Indianapolis, and what they do is they'll drive a car into the area, drop a person off, and since cell phones are kind of ubiquitous, everybody's got one. One will prowl the neighborhood while the other guy goes and sits in the parking lot someplace. And if they see something they want, they'll try the door of the car, and in many cases the door's unlocked, so a lot of people will get their car rifled and they'll end up with all their change that they left in the cup holder gone or something simple like that. But unfortunately, if you leave something like a computer bag, something that really gets their attention in plain view in the car, they'll look around, and if nobody sees anything, they'll break the window. By the time you sit up in bed and say, what was that? They've got it and they're gone. That fast. What's going to happen one of these nights, we're going to have to just get lucky. Somebody's going to have to get up and go to the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning, or they're going to have to let the dog out or something like that, and they're going to see something and call in. That's what we're hoping for. I do want to reinforce with residents that if you see something suspicious, absolutely, under no circumstances should you confront somebody. Some of these people are armed. We don't know if they are, we don't know if they're not, and I don't want to unduly frighten people, but it's a good possibility some of these people could be. And that's our job. Don't put yourself in jeopardy, let us do that. That's what you call 911 for. That's all I have, sir, unless members of the council have questions.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Batson?
What block, or I don't need the address, but what block is the car stolen?
It's on 64 right now.
Any other questions for Mr. Batson? Happy New Year. Thanks again for all the efforts on behalf of the town council and the citizens.
Corey, is that something to put on the website, just to remind people a lot? Stars, yes, yeah. Sort of some language you want to share with me?
I'm sorry, sir, what was the question?
Greg Jacoby asked if there's something that we can put on the website, post on the site, about best practices for safety.
I would recommend that. That'd be a great idea. We do need to recommend to folks, number one, if they see anything at all suspicious, to go ahead and call it in. Either call 911 or call the non-emergency number, which is 327-3811. And unfortunately, folks will still call the town's answering service. I think they're afraid they're putting somebody out to call 911. We want to encourage them, don't call the town's answering service if you need the police to respond to something. I'm sorry.
I think what Craig was asking is, could you or somebody?
Oh, could we draft something for you? Absolutely.
For us to post,
On the,
I can modify it. but-
Sure. We'll draft this something for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll do that right away.
What's the non-emergency
The non-emergency number down at the communication center is 317-327-3811. That's if you see something and you don't think it's a life and death emergency, it's not a crime in progress, but you think the police need to do something. And then the town's answering services for administrative things like you're going on vacation, you want us to do a vacation check on your home, or you're trying to find out something about a police report, or something where you don't need the police to respond to something. The answering service is strictly just an answering machine. we're not there, we don't hear it. So, and if the officer's out patrolling, it could be 4 or 5 hours when everybody gets back to that machine.
And that's the non-emergency.
That's
That's
just,
a different.
yeah, that's our town number. I think
We all have, what, these numbers on the website.
253-5678. That's the town's answering service, and it's strictly for administrative calls. That number's been in existence for over 40 years that I'm aware of,
That's great service.
and a lot of folks will still try to call that. Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate all you. David, town engineers report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council, David Ford, Crossroad Engineers, engineer. 2024 community crossings grants is now been officially closed and accepted by INDOT, so that is completely done. 2024-02, I am waiting on, I believe, one more cancel check, and then I can submit to INDOT and that goes out as well, so that should be in the next 30 days or so. 2025 asset management plan was submitted and approved by INDOT in December, which was a prerequisite for the 2026 community crossings application. Again, congratulations on receiving the 2026 community crossings. My firm was involved in submitting 8 applications, and you were the only recipient. I'd like to say that is also coincidentally the only application I put together. So
I would agree with that.
So, it's just needless to say, $279 million worth of applicants, only $100 million to receive. You guys are the minority as receiving, so that's pretty good news. We're going to talk about a special bid opening and award on February 9th.
And what work will that be for again?
That bid, I don't have all the street segments in front of me, but it was a dozen or so street segments that we approved back October.
Milling and paving.
Milling and paving, right.
I just want to make sure nobody thought this was going to be the sidewalk.
No, this is milling and overlay.
Right.
If we could, I'm gonna skip over 75th Street sidewalk and go through kind of the lower hanging fruit, and sort of back to that. I believe you noticed, I drove through that today, checked them out, that the flashing stop signs on 75th Street are now operational, very visible now. So hopefully those are acceptable, and you guys, that's what you're looking for. If there's additional ones, this is great, you guys love it, we want to try to add them at additional locations, let me know, we can continue to do that, otherwise, we'll consider that marked off.
I don't know, mark it off. Is the 75th in Pennsylvania going west?
No.
Coming off the radio.
Mr. President, I'd like to request this. I thought we were going to do the 75th in Pennsylvania going west because my observations, standing there, sitting in my soccer chair watching, that's the way they're blowing on the street the most.
I would agree.
I mean, it's not even close.
Yeah, I
They're
wouldn't-
coming full speed.
Yeah, I mean, I would be opposed to it. The conversation previously was that we thought turning off Meridian was where people, if people are legitimately missing the stop sign, that was the one. I don't disagree that potentially there's more flowing in the other direction, and I wouldn't be opposed to adding it. I just want to clarify what our thought process was when we chose turning off of Meridian towards Pennsylvania, turning off of Meridian towards Illinois.
And one other comment, if they can't see those signs,
Well,
write the ticket.
yeah, there's,
That'd be a business plan.
I think they're beautiful.
So the question I would have, is the Indy NIP, which has to do with public safety, would those signs qualify in that pool of funds?
I believe so, yes.
I think they would too.
And I would also, if council is going to consider a new location, I would look at holistically at additional locations, so not just one at a time, putting them in your cost goes. So, if there is consideration for this, I would also look at what other locations.
And they also put the new speed sign in.
That's correct.
I've heard a lot of public reception, like, good comments about it already.
The radar sign,
Yes, stop sign.
Yeah.
Stop sign, the flashing stop sign.
And the radar sign.
you can't see those, man. hit early. And Jim's been able to finesse that into our 2025 budget, with the exception of one, which was New Year's Day, which was icy, and that's a $10,000 hit. So our $56,000 budget in Snow Road is now down in the $39,000 range for 2026. So we're, depending on what happens, we're not in bad shape right now. I forgot to mention that. Apologies.
And then, the only really utility, work that was done was at 7485 Central Avenue, was the CG gas service line installation. It should be, it has not taken
we have in the minutes of the meeting, the approval, contingent upon his willingness to give that 10 or 11 feet. And as evidence of that, you'll notice that his arborvitae that he planted to create a barrier against his garage is set back in anticipation of a sidewalk being put in. So, and when we gave the variance to the neighbor due to the east, on the southeast corner, he also agreed to that in order for his variance to be slightly closer to 75th Street. And so, I'd be happy to meet with Mr. Walker, and he recognizes that, so I don't see that as a big issue.
I assume.
And Sloan, I think at some point we may want to try and codify that in a document that he would be willing to review and execute for us to record.
Good, we can take care of that.
So,
And, you know, we can take care of that on the main part here. It's the same, we talked about here, it's the same. Take it across our property.
right,
So it would be good to kind of get that in some kind of document.
I agree, and there's been some change of leadership.
Right, that's
ever
right.
since those
Right, right.
discussions all began.
Good to have any comment.
Yeah, I agree with you, so.
So it's 1,865,000 from Penn to Cobb.
To do the work.
Anybody have any questions? Well, I guess to me then, we go back to where we were in the November meeting, which is the request that I know is coming up next with our town attorney, which is to start eminent domain proceedings against Amy Weed, or whatever the property owner is, Penny A. Weed LLC. And we can take this up in Sloan's there, but I am here tonight to start those negotiations, or not negotiate, file the lawsuit, and let's go. Again, there's no doubt this is for public good. I believe we've been very patient in meeting with the property owners, who are very, very nice people. For whatever reason, they don't see that they want to do that, but I believe it's in the town's best interest to start the eminent domain proceedings and file a lawsuit. So,
Is that the only property
the property next to it, the James and Julia O'Brien, it's my understanding they lived down further on 75th Street prior to buying this house. And I'd be more than happy to stop by and talk to them, but I think they would be okay with that. So if we're gonna, I think the first step is, you can't file them together and get any kind of, if you're gonna file, whether you file two or one, you're doing the same thing. And so my feeling would be, and I would make a motion to suggest the council approve hiring Denton's to commence the taking eminent domain lawsuit against the property owned by Penny A. Weed LLC.
Cost estimate, just on just
The legal work could be anywhere from 20 to 30,000. And my guess is then you get into appraisals of the real estate, and there's some science to that, and some not. It's a corner house, so is it more valuable or less valuable? The taking, you get into it, but typically, it's been my experience in working in other situations, not in the town, but in others, that it's not like you say, okay, the lot down the street was 850,000, and it was 7/10 of an acre. This is 1/10 of an acre, so it's $80,000. It's not that way. And I think what will happen is that we'll file a lawsuit, and they will, the court will grant us that right of way, and then the legal aspect of that comes, I believe, in the discussion My experience is it depends upon, there's some that do this eminent domain work specifically. My guess is it's probably, if we have to pay for all three of them, probably gonna be $2,000 per appraisal.
Appraisals are about 24 to 25.
Okay. So it's 480 plus 20 or 30 for the property, 630, that's 510 plus the appraisal, so it's like 510 to 5.
I thought I heard David say
The
before.
land costs and some estimation.
No, I'm putting in legal fees. The legal,
I got
we think the legal fees are 20 or 30,000, correct?
It could be.
Yeah, so 480, we got properties 480, the consultants are 20 to 30, the appraisals 2,500 or something. Yeah, so if it's 480 plus 30 plus $3,000, you're 513. I'm just trying to look at total cost.
I thought David indicated that in his 480,000, some of those fees were already taken into
the right of
consideration.
way indicator, and what the typical acquisition process would be, if it goes to eminent domain, I did not include those legal costs.
Okay.
But part of those, if I'm accounting for X appraisals and my work, and what you will do is one, I don't know if the court can accept it, I think they'll throw it out and order 3 new ones. So basically, that cost will probably be nullified and
Bob?
In the process that Sloan described, you need to make an offer first and let them respond to it, right? And then you can file paperwork. How do you come up with a figure for that initial offer? Do you hire an appraiser to do that?
typically, that's what you do an appraisal, they have some type of offer to them for them to either accept or reject. There has to be some basis.
Can that appraiser be one of the 3 individual subsequent
I
appraisals?
don't believe so. I think that the court then throws that out.
So there are actually 4 appraisals that are required.
I'm speaking out of turn here, I don't know if they accept that, sometimes one of them, I think sometimes they might, but other times they go for discern. And the court will approve, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's 515 to 550. Back. I'm trying to look at what's the bracket that we're talking about to get this set up. I'm not against it, I'm just trying to make sure we're all understanding the number.
Okay. Any other questions for David under the engineer report? Okay, infrastructure we've talked about, utility work right away,
We talk everything.
7485, CEG, reviews done.
We need to take a vote on
Well, we'll do that under new business, so I think that's, there's the town attorney. discussions, or grant, yeah, that's perfect, thanks. Grant the right of way to the town for the project.
Okay.
And with that, we're taking the next step. Thank you. Is that fair?
Yep, I agree.
For my clarification, is it really two steps we're taking, or is it all bundled up in one, no matter what you do? You got an appraisal and a formal offer is a step. The second step is whatever results from that, all right?
If they reject.
If they reject it and do something else, if they accept it, we're all happy. So, are we approving both steps at once? Is there a world in which we do step one and then decide if two is needed, meaning the litigation?
I don't think two starts.
Until one, right? I'm just
I mean,
trying to make
other
sure
than drafting the proposal.
that we're not unduly like,
I think because of the discussion we've had, collectively, a couple of people have had, is that if we don't have, if then that, you may not have much ability to try to break the closure easily with the first option.
in either scenario, the appraisal or the offer are not going to change, right? So,
Right.
So, I guess the resolution would read that we get an appraisal, town, and Crossroads can do that appraisal, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sorry.
Do you just consider the appraisal part of the process that you would be engaged for?
Yeah, so
That's one of your steps you need, so you would be arranging for that.
Correct. I would recommend at this stage to simply authorize Walter to execute the engagement letter, and then, depending on how much freedom you would give Walter as the council president to take those actions. Step one, get the appraisal. Step two, make a proposal, submit that to the landowner, so on and so forth, depending on how quickly the council wants to proceed with this. Just, if we follow this process, what's the average timeline for the process? Probably 30, 45 days for appraisal? Yeah, and then you gotta contact them, they have a certain period of time to think about it, respond, so that's about 2 or 3 months just for step one of the process. Right, so we're down to something. All right, 60 days.
So this would
Authorize step two. We're gonna hear about it along the way, but I think if you don't have the follow through with step one, you should waste time.
So let's, I'm gonna entertain a motion to,
Go ahead and make a motion to make the changes.
you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we engage Dittens to follow the process for eminent domain on 7499 North Pennsylvania Avenue, along with the change that Walter made on paragraph 3. We said what, grant the owner has rejected council's president's.
In my discussions with her, I asked if she would be willing to grant the easement, and the answer was no. Okay. Okay, so, there's been a motion made, is there a second? Second, is there any further discussion?
Authorizing an appraisal. Yeah, that's the process.
I think part of that, just so everybody's clear, is what you're doing as part of this, unless I misunderstood with Sloman, which was to grant me the authority to execute on behalf of the town during this process. Correct? Any further questions? Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same? Okay, great. Sloan, do you have some other things to bring to the board from from the legal perspective, our town attorney perspective?
Just a small update regarding the 2025, 2020, correct me if I'm wrong, calendar report, the 2025, 2026 INF funds, 2024, 2025, excuse me, INF funds. There was an issue from DPW's perspective in one of the project agreement that actually evidenced the award of the funds to the town. So we've been, the issue in that document was that they had included a smaller program funding amount when the document was sent to Council President Farhoff for execution. DPW has admitted that mistake. We're working through getting a new document signed that increases the program funding to the correct amount. And at this stage, we're, again, Council President Farhoff, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're still waiting to get that document amendment sent to the town for execution. And then we did submit an invoice for the original number that was part of the signed agreement. Clerk Treasurer Dillon, do you have any update on whether we received?
He received it and deposited. Right, the 28th or 29th of the year, he sent an email out indicating he received it and he deposited.
Perfect. So at this stage, we're waiting to get that amendment executed, and then we'll receive those additional funds shortly thereafter.
What's the additional funds?
It is slightly, exactly $20,223.53.
And those funds, once received, were for 50/50 match with all transactions.
Correct.
So we'll see if that done until we,
So we'll have that money, we can
and they'll
get going on replacing or fixing. Okay.
I have no further updates.
Any questions for Sloan? Okay, seeing none, other new business. The town residential standards committee met on a couple of items 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, at Second Presbyterian Church. With us today is the proud owner of 7575 North Central Avenue, which is a home that Mike Boyle purchased. Let me first tell all of us, because hopefully we never have to, but Mike's firm built the new fire station in Broadway on College Avenue, which will probably be the first or the second unit called when the time comes to fight one of our fires. But it is a great looking building. Thank you. Welcome to the town.
Thank you. So I've got a little, couple diagrams here I'd like to go over. This is the site layout, first page of the site layout for our proposed new ranch, so what we call the nation. And so on the rear, what we're encroaching is the pool house at the rear yard. You can see like how the L-shaped lot is, and so we try to utilize it as much as possible, but the pool house actually encroaches into the 30-yard setback. If you see that dotted line right here, that's the 30-foot yard setback right there. And then
So you encroach 16 feet somewhere in the neighborhood.
yes, yeah, it's like, yeah, so that house is like 15 feet 8 inches. So the old house on the second page, if you look at it, the second page, it's kind of hard to see it, but the old, where we've already demoed the house is gone, the pool's gone. The pool was about 5 feet off of the property where the old pool was. It actually was leaking about 3 inches of water a day. So, yes. Yes. That's correct, yep. So the majority of the house is set back, beyond the 30-foot setback. And so, this is where this will be at the house. And then we've got, I went down with all the neighbors over there, Kim McAdams, and she introduced us to
of this drainage that comes from the west to the east, across 75th Street, all the way from Washington Boulevard, where we've had several very large homes built, that there's less ground to absorb the water, and it's moved that way by south of the Shorebrook and through this property has had issues with drainage. Hence Mike's discussion about the pool losing 3 inches of water a day. That area down there is wet almost all the time. From the town's perspective, the town cannot, or in the past has not, taken a position on drainage that is outside the right-of-way of the town. If the drainage is within the right-of-way, we have some authority to request. What Greg and myself, and mostly Greg, who does a great job with our residential standards committee, indicates is, hey, let's be a good neighbor, and we don't want to put a new house in that is going to all of a sudden create larger problems down the street. So we need to be cognizant of these issues as we try and move forward. I started with thanking Mike for his great work with the fire department, to let you kind of know that Mike's in the business and understands construction and understands drainage and things like that. And we had talked to him about it. But the town itself, in the past, has been led to believe by our legal counsel that you really don't have any authority within that, other than ask everybody to be good neighbors and do that. Once it gets to the town right away, we do have authority. And that happened on Pennsylvania Street. You may remember years ago when we put the hydrant ditches in from 71st Street all the way up, and we had quite a stir 15 years ago when we did all that. But that was all in the right of way. All we can ask people to do is be cognizant and caring of their neighbors, because you've lived there with them for a long time. Right. But that's all I'm saying. The other house had an existing pool that was in the right of way, the setback requirement. Mike and his family are looking to do something similar, actually not as intrusive to the neighbor, because it's actually 10 feet further away.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct, yes. Yeah, the last pool is 5 feet away.
And I'm not trying to tell your story for you, I'm just trying to bring everybody up to speed on where we've been. So, it is a low area, and will require a little bit of finesse.
Yeah, well, we're actually, the house, our house actually sits higher than what that basically that kind of that natural swim was. So, and it's not, we're not digging down. We're gonna have a basement, but the basement is gonna go, we're actually building the house up a little bit higher than what the existing one was. So, basically, it would be about the same height as we're, same elevation of what Chris is to the east.
I just think that's what everybody does, they build their house, and build it up, and then the water comes off the gutters. It has a greater slope to slide off. Yeah, probably, as Walter said, we can't tell you how to do it, we can ask you to do it neighborly.
Right.
And try to capture some of it, put it through a garden, do something with it before it shoots off in your neighbor. And because we know you can see in the photo, there's a low area there. If everybody just dumps it on a low area, then it's small.
Yeah, so like our driveway is gonna come back where originally was, it just went straight back in the house. Ours actually gonna come around, then come into the garage over here. So we're gonna have retaining walls, to help kind of, because really, so basically this side of the house will, basically drain right into our side yard here. So we're gonna try to sit there, create it, because this is obviously gonna be higher, and then the water will run back this way.
Yeah, someplace let it go around for.
Right.
That'd be great. So this is not the current site. Is this the building plan without the driveway design?
Yeah, the driveway, actually.
Those are the driveways in the front.
Yeah, this is the garage, this is the side of the garage.
And this,
So the committee had an opinion?
the committee, because he did not have one of the property owners that was immediately north, that connected, asked that they were in favor, right? As long as you had the, after there was a little piece that came down.
Right, elderly, yeah, it was, Kyrie.
Yes, and I see that she is in this. So the committee's recommendation was to approve it, subject to the last property owner and the full knowledge that we would hope, being a great neighbor, that this would not only just create more of a burden down the road. Am I, is that correct?
Just kind of lead to the,
That's the north, Craig, that's north, east. So he's about.
Which one's the neighbor that,
Kyrie.
to the east, that's not on central? Which neighbor's the one that's east, not on central?
Yeah,
They
the
would
one
be the
that's-
most affected,
Right.
in a way.
okay.
That's Ivor's, that's Matt Moses.
Yeah, and this is, us.
And the one that he had before was the one just north on K.
But this one, the east, not on central, right?
Right,
Is
right.
on board with this.
Sorry.
So the this house line.
One behind, not on central, this house.
That's Ivor, yeah, they have.
Because in my mind, if you're going that far towards the right of way, like that's the house that, you know, is based on what we have control over, which is the setback. That's the house being most, you know, impacted, if you will.
And I think what he said correctly is that it was 5 feet previously where the pool was at. The new one would be 10 feet, so 5.
So structure is closer, call it, but the pool is gonna
Right,
be
right.
fenced in. So-
But then it's further away on the side yard setbacks too, 'cause it was like 10 feet away.
And you're meeting all those, like there's no.
Yes.
There was no size, which is nice.
I had the power company come out because I was like, hey, this might be a good time for you guys to go underground some transformers. And, I met them out there and they're like, there's no, absolutely no, he said, we would have to set probably 10 transformers in there. And I was like, well, I'll just give you the options. So I said, oh, I'm shot.
Worth asking.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I would entertain a motion to accept the request for rear yard variance from Mr. Boyle located at 7575 North Central Avenue. Entertain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fred made the motion.
So moved.
So moved. Second? Second. Is there any further discussion? Again, we try to be as forthright with you as we can.
Yes.
Good neighbors make good neighborhoods. I realize you can't solve everything, but please be as judicious as you can with the site and the water.
Understood.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. There you go. And we can get a letter to you from Sloan
Okay.
at Denton's. You can get his card, show you where he wants it, so that you can take that. Do you have any, have you got your building permits yet?
Not yet, but they've been filed, so he filed.
Yeah, so you would be able to put that with it to show you meet the Meridian Hills.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks.
Did we decide
Are there any other questions or items to be brought, new business to be brought to the town? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Oops, we're adjourned. Thank you.
We have all